Hi everyone, Jim here, welcome to my channel. Well, watching my last video where we did the reading swap with Ben over at Grammaticus Books, and he did an awesome review of 8 Million Ways to Die by Lawrence Block, part of the Matt Scudder series, got me thinking about another PI series that is my favorite and that I've been reading forever, and that is the Amos Walker series by Loren D. Estleman. That's the first one in the series, Angel Eyes. Loren D. Estleman, very prolific writer. He's been around for a long time. He started out, I'm pretty sure, he's wrote a few Sherlock Holmes books. Now he's a huge Sherlock Holmes fan. I would tend to say that he's a scholar, Sherlock Holmes scholar, and he famously wrote Sherlock Holmes versus Dracula, which just kind of took off and started a whole trend of Sherlock Holmes stories. And he's also written a few short stories with Sherlock Holmes and other things. So he's a very prolific writer. He's also well known for writing westerns, like books, for instance, like Bloody Season, and here I've got a Wild Bill Hickok story. So yeah, he gets around. He's a very prolific writer, but I know him, and I still think of him as the writer and creator of the Amos Walker series. I am huge into private investigator novels, PI mystery crime novels, and he really, they bandy that phrase out there every time a new PI series comes out, and they say he's a new successor to Raymond Chandler. Well, in my mind, the only successor to Raymond Chandler that really deserves that title, that's Amos Walker. There's 32 books in the series. They started in 1980 with this one, and as far as I know, he's still writing them. I think the last one that came out was 2024, Smoke in the Water, which I have yet to get. I don't have every one of these, unfortunately, but I've got most of them. Now, he wrote the 32 novels and 2 short story collections, and the short stories that Loren D. Estleman writes are just like brilliant. This is the first collection of short stories called General Murders. This next one, it's a huge collection of probably all his Amos Walker stories. I don't know if he's written any since then, but this one, my local Chapters bookstore, it sat on the shelf for years and years before it became Indigo Bookstore, and they started selling blankets and candles where you had to mortgage your home to be able to afford them. It was Chapters, which made more sense to me. So this huge book, I would go by my bookstore weekly, and I would see this book on the shelf, and I would covet it. But at the time, I couldn't really afford it, and it sat there, nobody buying it. I'm talking years. And finally, I bit the bullet and I bought it, and I'm thankful that I did, because this is just full of his short stories. I mean, really, he's a brilliant writer. Amos Walker is such a great character. He's a bit curmudgeonly, but he's the epitome of the old-fashioned gumshoe. A little politically incorrect, but he's still going strong. And I'm going to show you a few of the Amos Walker books that I have, mostly in paperback. Now, this just goes to show you, I bought these ones like brand new off the shelf back in the day, back in the 80s, and they're still almost in perfect shape. That spine's cracked a little because I've read them more than once, but I try to keep my books in good shape, and I'm thankful I do. So that was Angel Eyes and The Midnight Man. And here we have Motor City Blue, and these great old paperbacks, The Glass Highway. And since I've been thinking of this and I decided to do the video on it, I actually went on Amazon and I ordered a couple more. They're kind of tough to find now because they have been around for a long time, this series. I think Forge Books is the publisher now that releases the Amos Walker novels. I would like to get them in the old paperbacks, but as I said, you don't see them out there too much anymore. But I've got most of them. I've got the bulk of them. So that's Lady Yesterday. I've got this in hardcover as well, an old hardcover. They're on my shelf out in the dining room. Here we've got Every Brilliant Eye. I love these covers. And he's a Detroit-based PI, by the way. And he kind of, in the Amos Walker books, Detroit's kind of like a character as Los Angeles was in the Raymond Chandler, Philip Marlowe stories. So it's got a little bit of a different vibe than Los Angeles, but I mean, there's nobody more red, white, and blue than Amos Walker. And here we've got Sugartown, Downriver. There's Never Street. And I think I've got a few more of these dispersed through my shelves. I really have to organize my books. There's The Witchfinder, The Hours of the Virgin. These are just, he's a great writer, honestly. These are just a lot of fun to read. Amos Walker's a hoot. This is Poison Blonde. There's Retro. And I've got some others out on my shelf, and as I said, a few more throughout my shelves here. But yeah, he's a lot of my focus, aside from the Robert E. Howard stuff and the fantasy stuff that I collect. I try to pick up any PI novels that I can, and I've acquired a lot of PI novels over the years, but probably the best of the best, I won't even say probably, the best of the best is the Loren D. Estleman Amos Walker books, and they're well worth checking out. If you can find this might be available even on Kindle. I'm not even sure, but I think most of his books now are available as an ebook, if you'd prefer to read them that way. I prefer to have the physical copies, and I reread them on occasion. You know, as when I feel like a good old-fashioned PI story, I'll open up a Loren D. Estleman Amos Walker book and enjoy the hell out of it. So that's all I wanted to say today. I just wanted to introduce you to Amos Walker. I'll probably talk more about him at a later date, but I will talk to you soon. You guys take care and keep reading.